G'day guys, you're back with MiracleMAX. Today in the lab we have a monitor, an LG monitor that keeps flashing and it doesn't want to boot up, but then it finally boots up after ages. What's wrong with it? I don't know, let's check it out together. So these are the monitors that I have on the office side of my office as opposed to the lab, which is just over that direction over there. Now, well, for the moment, they appear to be working just fine, but let's start them up and have a look and see what they do. If we can get some focus, I will start the computer up. Now, originally, I had, electrically speaking, I had it connected to the computer. This was my main boot up monitor, and that guy was my secondary one. I've now switched sides simply to prove that this monitor here is the faulty one. Okay, let's start up this computer and see exactly what it's going to do. Oh, hang on, have a look over here. Can you see what this LG screen is doing? It tries to boot up and then it crashes for some reason. So there you go, the left-hand screen is part of the boot up sequence. MSI has come up and we've got our little turtle over there. He's all ready to go. Whoop, did you see that on the right-hand side again? It's starting to flash. What is going on? And that fella doesn't want to boot up. It's going to continue to flash until it starts to heat up a bit. Now it's really bad in the mornings when it's cold, but since I've had it operating for a little while, it hasn't taken too long to boot up. But as you saw, you'll end up with the LG logo going across the screen, flashing off and on at regular intervals. So let's pull it apart and have a look. The model that we're working on today is an LG Flattron D2342P, and it was made in August of 2011. Now, let me show you how you disassemble it. Starting at the base, there's a big screw that needs to be undone. Once that fella's out the road, then we can simply pull that off and get that base out of the road. It's all about the base. Next fella, this did take me a little while and I did some research and couldn't find anything, but in actual fact you just reef this fella out. It's only held in by sort of a spring clip, so let's hook into that. Just like that, see? So you've got sort of a piece that goes in here and a spring clip that holds it in place. Now right down the bottom here, coming up this way, is a screw that holds this bracket in place. I can't see how to get that out at the moment. Let me do some more research. So here is the front of the screen or the monitor, and I'm working on this front fascia to try and clip it off. And I've been using my phone, what do we call this thing? The opening tool that I use with my phones to do screens, etc. And I've been able to get in there and just gently pop away some of the clips. And yes, it does take a little bit of energy, but it will clip off. You'll hear it clip off eventually. Make a liar of me, of course. I'll spin him around on the other side and see if I can show you how I can get that one off. Now let's try this one now. You've got to be quite forceful with them to get in there, in behind the fascia. There it goes. You sort of wiggle and jiggle, an up and down motion type thing, and you'll eventually get there. Of course, you don't want to force it too much because you don't want to break it off its clips, etc. But get your fingers in behind it here as well, just to try and undo those clips like a DOS. And rinse and repeat all the way around. Of course, keep in mind up that direction you've got some buttons, so you want to make sure that you don't slice through any wiring, etc. with this sharp instrument. I'm hoping there might be some screws around this area once we pull the front fascia off. Alright, there's a wiring harness here. Undo. Gotcha. Well, that took a little while, but I got him. Okay, so what we've got now is the whole power board coming off and the monitor coming off together, leaving behind the back frame, which is kind of weird. There's really nothing holding this in place. A little bit disturbing. You can see here it's just the back frame that holds in the power supply and video board and all that sort of gizmo, and then it's pressed into place. There's really no screws that hold it in place, so yeah, unless you're a little bit adventuresome, you could be there all night. In behind this plate here are all the screws to get your back stand off, so You could be yanking and tugging on that bad boy all day and still not get it off because the screws are from the inside. What a stupid idea. As strange as it seems, everything seems to be backwards in this guy. There's no screws holding it into the frame itself, and the power supply seems to flop around. There's no screws holding it onto the back of the monitor either. So, have to be very careful about how I pull this apart. So this guy here goes up to my on-off switch at the front. And there's a plug over here that's held down by some tape. So let's pop him off and have a quick look. I open a little door and I can pull out, this looks like my video connection here. So I'll carefully remove that. So this is a ribbon cable. It'll be latched. So we need to pop that up and that fella will come out like DOS. This here can sit here for now, I guess. Yep, I suppose that's all right. Although to get this cover off, I assume that I'll need to get that out. So pull him out there for now. Got that guy out there. There's another fella over here I need to remove. I think for ease of use, I'll just flip it over and lift up this latch here. That should be a latch, I'd imagine. Oh, that fella there we go, perfect. So now we've got the actual power board, which I believe is the cause of the problem. We need to strip away, I assume that this is the power supply here, because we can see a big line drawn down the center, and that would indicate a hot side and a cold side. So, and of course this would be our hot side. There's our main power supply coming in, our hot side, and then our cold side over here. So I'm going to pull this board off. I'm not overly concerned about this side right at the moment. Let's pop that off and have a look at it. Now under here, of course, we're going to expect quite a few things. We'd have a bridge rectifier, we should have a filter capacitor, main filter capacitor, maybe a choke of some description, switch mode power supply, probably an opto coupler across here somewhere. There'll be a MOSFET of some description. All the goodies should be in there, I would imagine, but we don't know until we pull it apart, hey? Oh, maybe that slides up. Tricksy. Okay, so you can see it's in a little slide here. So we need to push it that way. Ooh, there's a dark patch in there, that's for sure. Be looking into that. Got him. Okay. So what do we have over here? We need to disconnect this little connector over this side here. Let's have a look and see how it's held in. That's nothing exciting. You just pop that little guy out there, I'd imagine. Okay, toasty warm, guys, toasty warm. Check it out. There's a big hot spot right here, isn't there? Let's have a look at our filter capacitors, or our little capacitors here are all bulged. Our filter one isn't too bad, but these guys over here are all bulged. They're all bulged as well. Wow, there's some heat in that plate there. So I'm thinking that this guy here may be our culprit, simply because, whip, check out the dark patch over there. That's definitely been hot, hey? So I think we've got a fair bit of work to do on this. So yeah, I might pop him apart and have a look and see if I can figure out some of these things. But I believe that that fella there is certainly got some heat attached to it, that's for sure. Maybe there's other faults involved in that particular area, but I would start with this IC simply because there's a telltale sign right there. I've reassembled the unit just simply so that I can do some further testing on it. I want to fire it up and check the temperature of this little IC over here. So hopefully when I've restored it, I've got it back to its good condition, I can recheck the temperatures and they should be different, I hope. I have checked some capacitors, I've checked some resistors, and I'll keep you informed along the way. But just for now, I want to see what sort of temperature this little guy is getting to. Okay, we can turn him on now. Get him powered up, and let's see what sort of temperature this guy is going to produce. Nothing exciting at the moment, is there? There should be a massive hotspot there, going according to the burn marks on the back of the board. Off camera, I've been doing some testing of these components around here, including this LED driver, these N-channel MOSFETs, as well as all the resistors and capacitors. I can't find anything wrong in that particular case. So I believe that this little IC, this driver, may have an internal fault that's creating that hot pattern on the back over here. So that's what I'm going to work on. But before I do that, I'm going to test all these capacitors. Not that it's going to be the reason for this driver to play up, but just going to check them anyway. I've downloaded a chart offline with regard to my blue ESR meter so that I can get all the values that I need. I'm not real smart, so I need a chart to follow along. I've written down the values that I believe that should apply to the caps that we're checking over here, and so I can check them now. This guy here is the 47 microfarad 100 volt, and that should have a maximum of 0.8 of an ohm. Let's see what our meter says in relation to that. Where's the guy gone? Come on, fella, where are you? Over there. So let's just see what it reads over here. There it is there. Should have no more than 0.8. We've got 0.55. That guy's fine. The next lot are these 470 microfarad 35 volt caps, and there's one bulged here. I'll be replacing these ones anyway, but just for the exercise, flip him over. They should be a maximum of 0.1 of an ohm. Let's see what they're reading. 0.04, 0.03, 0.03. I'm going to replace them anyway, simply because that guy there is bulged. What about these fellas over here? They're quite badly bulged. They are the 1000 microfarad 10 volt caps that we need to address. Let's check them out. Remember, they're 0.1 and we've got 0.5 there. That's not good. 0.5, 0.5. Now, to be quite honest, I have searched online or try and find this guy here, 47 microfarad 100 volts. Now, I'm not going to worry about him at the moment. He's well within range and he's flat. He doesn't have a bulge there. But these guys, I'm going to replace every single one of them and see if that makes any difference to a little IC driver over here. I don't think it will, but before I purchase that, I just want to make sure that everything else is up to scratch. I've popped these guys out, and as you can see, it's got 470 microfarads by 35 volts. Now, I don't carry those in stock, but what I do carry in stock is some 470 by 63 volts. That's not an issue, as long as this voltage, the new ones, is higher than the old voltage. We've got 35 in this case, we've got 63 in this case, we're all good. It's similar with the other ones. I have these 16 volt 1000 microfarad ones in stock, and the ones I will be replacing is 1000 microfarad 10 volts. So as long as these are higher in the voltage range, we are all good. There you go, I've managed to replace all of these caps. They're all brand new now, and there's the old dodgy ones right there. Will that make the difference for this IC over here? Oh look, I don't think so, but I'm just going to start this beast up and then see if I'll get my thermal camera and see what this little guy over here is doing. It may produce a fair bit of heat over there, I'd imagine, hey? But anyway, now that I've got rid of these dodgy caps, then I can make a decision whether I replace that IC or not. It's a little bit hard to get a hold of, but yeah, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. We're now back over the office side of my lab, and you can see that the monitor is now in position. We've got our other screen over here that's gone to sleep, and this guy here is now our main monitor. I want to see if this guy is going to kick in, and interestingly enough, how hot this little IC or this LED driver is going to get. Is it going to work full stop? That's the question. First of all, we need to turn on the power. Now, I've still got it through my isolation transformer, which is over the lab side of my office. We'll turn on the power, see what happens. Okay, a little blue light, that's always a good sign. And let's see what happens underneath here. I can see the LED backlight coming to life. Let's just see if we can kick that up. All right. All right, we don't have anything right at the moment. Let's just kick our mouse in. Okay, we've got our other screen over there, and we've got this screen coming to life. Just a little hard to operate because it's actually upside down. You can see my secondary screen is working fine, of course. It's come back from sleep. My primary one is working fine. Now the question that remains is, how hot is that LED driver getting? Do I need to replace it, or is it within specs? Let's let it run for a while, and we'll keep an eye on the temperature. So I have had this going for a little while. Let's see if we can locate that driver. That's the fella there. Now we're up to about 76 degrees, 78 degrees right at the moment. Is that excessive? 79? Perhaps I should wait a little bit longer see how hot the thing gets, because obviously just because I've replaced those caps, it's got it up and running. But is there a second fault? We're hitting up to 80 degrees. What are the specs for this particular driver? Okay, this just in. I've had this running for approximately 5 minutes or so, I suppose, and it's kind of leveled out to about 87, 88. I'm going to have to have a look at the specs and see what the temperature range is for this fella. But 88 seems a little bit high, but I did an amplifier not so long ago that was running 112, and that was still within specs. So time to look up the specifications of it, I guess. Which, believe it or not, I just happen to have on this screen here. It's open already, so we'll flip the screen up and then I'll flip the camera image back over so that we can see it the right way up. As you can see here, free air temperature, -40 to 125 degrees. Now 88, 90 degrees is still within spec, so I'm not overly concerned about that right now. I'll let it run for a little bit longer, and you know, before I call this a fix. I don't want to have to do this repair again if the LED driver is overheating, but at the moment, looks like it's within specs. Right, that's hitting 96.5 degrees, hovering around there at the moment. Let's just wait a bit longer, see if it creeps up any further. It certainly is creeping up, just little by little. Might be a little bit hard for you guys to see it, but that chip's running at about 91 degrees at the moment. It's gone up to about 96 maximum, and it's coming down, believe it or not. We're down to 92, 91, something along those lines. So yeah, that's pretty good. Look, I'm going to leave it on a bit longer. That was about 10 minutes, that run. So I'll leave it a bit longer and see if it does get hotter, but that's still well within specs, isn't it? That's about another 20 minutes that has passed, and we're up about 93 degrees. Look, I'm not worried about that whatsoever. It's very strange. I'm not sure why this was overheating before. Perhaps the capacitors were partially earthing out and therefore creating a backfeed. I don't know. Really don't have any idea, guys. All I can say is that that fella is within spec. The highest it got up to was 96, and the longer it stays on, the lower the temperature, or the more stable the temperature is becoming. So I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. So I've yet to reassemble that LG monitor that had that flashing issue. Fortunately, it was just a set of capacitors that were faulty. But I must admit, I'm looking forward to having that second monitor back in the office side of the lab.
A few moments later.
The LG is now back in its position here in the lab, on the office side of the lab. And let's see if it's going to work. So we'll power it up and see what it does. I'll zip through this boot up section. It can take some time just to show you that it's up and running. So we're powered up now. We can see the backlights kicked in on the LG. That's our main monitor. Got our MSI come up. And wow, I didn't have to speed through that. That came up quite quickly, as you can see. So the other display is my secondary display. That'll come up as soon as I put in my password. And you can see both monitors are now up and running. Excellent. I'd classify that as a successful repair. We now have a fully operating LG monitor. No longer is it flashing during the boot up sequence. All because of a set of bulge caps. Hey guys, I hope you got something from this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Give it a like, feel free to comment down below. Don't forget about that notification bell. You don't want to miss any future videos. Of course, there's the Facebook, the Insta that you can catch up with us as well. So until next time, guys, this is MiracleMAX signing off. I will catch you later.